everybody. We have a really fun stream today. Thank you for joining me. It's a little bit earlier than usual. Let me welcome the new people who, if you join during a live stream, I'll give you a shout out when you join. So welcome Amber Lee Rose. And then I saw some people join at the very beginning. Caliban, welcome back. And Kruno Nusik, thank you for joining. Amber, that's a really nice photo that you have there. So, hey Grazer. So welcome to the live stream. There was so much to cover out of just the one panel on Saturday for Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 20th Century Studios that I was like, I'm just going to do it live. But I do have graphics for each project. So if you're watching this not live, you'll be able to go to what you want me to talk about by just fast forwarding through, and you'll see the picture of what I'm discussing. Hey, Carter James, thank you. Hey, Prince Connor, welcome. So, yeah, so this is pretty nuts. Now, first I want to start out with my overall thoughts for the D23 Expo over the weekend, because a number of you asked me about it, how I felt. I feel like it was a really great in-person event. I think that there was just, hey, Carl, a ton of stars. They had a bunch of stuff to show. They had a lot of stuff that was exclusive to people in the room. So I think that if their goal was to make sure that you feel you needed to be there, they definitely succeeded in that regard. I know it was very difficult to get into that room. Hey, Elsie Ma, somebody I know who was there wanted to be in the big room for Marvel, and hey, Francisco, for Marvel, hey, Liros, for Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 20th Century Fox, and they told me they were online at midnight the night before for a 10 a.m. panel, and they were in the standby. They couldn't even get in, but they got in eventually, but they didn't get into the room at first. So that's incredible that you would have to stay up overnight to even get into that room. But that's the kind of hype that Disney wants, and so I think that clearly, from that perspective, it was very successful. From a marketing perspective to the rest of the world, I think it was more of a mixed bag. I think that some of you were expecting, like I know some of you wanted a Wanda project to be announced. There was never any rumors about that happening. So, I mean, that was just, you guys were just hoping, so that's fine. But, as for the Fantastic Four casting, I had said that I thought there was a very good chance. I said they would definitely be doing the director, which they did, although that leaked beforehand, as I also predicted. But I said there was a chance they would be doing the casting, and I know that they're really down to the wire on it. It's probably almost set. But I didn't ever said it was guaranteed. Hey, Savarma. And also, there were some people online, let's be honest, especially there was like this one account that I'd never heard of in the entertainment space that put out this crazy, ridiculous rumor. Hey, Aaron Epstein. And everybody believed it for some reason, maybe because the person had a blue check. But I do feel that, I know that the studio to some degree doesn't want to address these things, but in some cases, I feel like you don't want to have people have, not have their expectations met. So I think that to some degree, like I found out right before the panel that they'd only be releasing those two trailers, Werewolf by Night and Secret Invasion. And also that they weren't going to do the Fantastic Forecast. But I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't want to say anything. And also it was right before the panel was just about to start, like literally like 10 minutes before I found out. So, Calvin, they didn't save anything. I think that they have to some degree too many projects. I think that was part of the problem for the weekend, was that there was just too much stuff and it's hard to focus for, you just dilute your audience, and because everybody's interested in different things. So I have, for this panel alone, for Saturday's panel by itself, I have 24 projects to go over with you today. That's craziness. That doesn't even include all the stuff that went over on the day beforehand for Disney live action and Pixar and animation. So I feel that they had like too much stuff. And I think that if they had pared it down, I think stuff would have gotten more attention, quite frankly. I also think they have the Toronto Film Festival that they were competing with over the weekend, which is tough. And then also the Queen's Funeral, which is a global once-in-a-lifetime event, which is taking up a lot of coverage. I do feel they got some good backstage interviews, though. I saw a couple of those on on Twitter, going through the feed, largely from the trades. And I thought some of those were pretty good. So I thought they got some good sound bites there. Now, interestingly, Bob Chapek, that's right, Nacho, the Emmys are tonight. I'll do an Emmy review tomorrow for tomorrow's live stream. Hey, Kruno. So also, while he was at D23 Expo, Bob Chapek gave an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. You can go check that out if you're interested. But he did comment specifically, hey, TJ Williams, he did comment specifically on the fact that he said, you need a lot of food to feed the beast, which is streaming. He was like, we had not anticipated how much content we needed to put in there to avoid churn. So this reminds me of what happened in Netflix, is that they have just too much content. And I think you're seeing that in the D23 Expo this weekend. And we're not even talking about the stuff that was at the Disney Plus panel, like American-Born Chinese, Santa Clauses, National Treasure, Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson trended, and Percy Jackson, the trailer, did quite well. But I can tell you that nobody had any interest in that from a commentary perspective online, which is why I didn't cover it. And so I feel like a lot of the Disney content is just going to disappear. I think disappear. R.I.P. Norway Ride at the Epcot Pavilion. And I feel it'll be almost impossible for those shows to compete, in terms of an internet attention level. So I think that, quite frankly, Disney would be better off. I think their real value to avoid churn is their library of content. Hey, 80s model. That's funny. You are an 80s model. I feel like I would be reluctant to drop Disney Plus just because at any moment I might want to watch something Disney, and I wouldn't be able to if I didn't have the service. So what do you guys, well, first let me ask you, what do you think? Do you think that there's too much? Stephen Turner, I'll talk about Bob Chapek getting booed in just a minute. I mean, do you think there was too much at the convention, or were you like, I love it, I'm like Uncle Scrooge diving into a pit of news? How did you feel about it? Not enough, Callaghan? That's crazy. That's an interesting question, Elsie Ma. It's been way too much content, and I don't know what is suitable for me to watch. That's interesting. Kruno, yes, we're going to talk about Black Widow too, for sure. Leo says, I want more, from The Little Mermaid. That's pretty funny. That's true. That's very funny, Hector. Hector says, I loved it, but I don't have to report on it. Yeah, I had a nightmare. I had a nightmare last night about an Indiana Jones trailer being available because they showed it to the audience, and I was like, oh no, I was almost made myself I woke up because I was like, oh, is it? Then I was like, oh, it's a dream. Hey, what the pop? And then also a friend of mine who was in the panel was like, and now comes Avatar. And I was like, they better not release a trailer, God damn it. It was too much. All right, so let's talk about Bob Chapek getting booed. So Bob Chapek, yes, he came out and got booed. And he was quite clever because he said, let's hear it for the cast of Disney Broadway. So everybody had a big round of applause for that, and then people didn't want to seem like they were booing those actors. But it was still very distinctly there. Now, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, do you think it was really appropriate to boo Bob Chapek? Vasily, there will be a Disney Investor Day at the end of the year for sure, just because they need to do something for investors. And thank you. All the big studios, like Warner Brothers Discovery is planning to have one. So anyway, my friend was like, what else are we going to do but boo him? We're not going to stop watching Disney content. I honestly feel that if Bob Chapek would take back the theme park changes that he's made, hey Darwin, I feel like he would totally fix his image. I think that's what people are upset about. I think people are upset about the experience in the parks not being what it used to be. I think people are upset about not only having to pay for fast passes, which were previously free, but I think they don't like the idea of Genie Plus because it puts you on your phone all day. I think when you're at the park, you want to relax. And I think that it's really hard to do that when you're stuck glued to your phone. That's a real world activity. You want to put that stuff all away when you're in the parks. And also people really hate park reservations. So I honestly feel that if Bob Chapek just got rid of these two things, but it's generating so much income for the studio, I think that he would not get booed. That's really all he would have to do. And I mean, hey Rob Agnew, But honestly, and also the other problem with the new fast passes is that not only do you have to pay for them, but now you can't book them until day of. So you're supposed to be on vacation and you have to get up at 7 a.m. And that's just ridiculous. And I think it's really bad. I think it's like very, very bad. And so I think those things need to be changed. All right, so that's my intro. Yes, that's right. That's only the intro. That's only the intro. All right, you ready? Let's get started. All right, so I have all these images, and I want to start. So the panel started with Lucasfilm. Boop. And there's Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy was there. Good for her. You know, I do have to say, I'm impressed that she keeps getting back on out there. And she didn't get booed. She's like, hey, Bob Chapek, I didn't get booed. So she went out there. She tried. She's still trying. I'm good for her that she's not like hiding and cowering in fear. But at the same time, I feel she's just not connecting. There's no movies in development. They didn't even talk about any Star Wars movies. I honestly believe that they're going to have to get somebody else. I think that's probably one of the reasons that the movies, they're not discussing any movies. Because they should have had some, once hey Lewis, once the Patty Jenkins movie fell apart, and I don't know what's going on with Taika Waititi's film, and where's Kevin Feige's movie? I mean, it's just, I think that they're taking clearly such a long break that it must be because maybe somebody else is going to come in. I think Kathleen Kennedy, I'm sure, is a lovely person, but I think she's not a presenter. And I think she's not a fan. I think that she got the job because she worked her whole career with Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, which of course are the big people behind, Star Wars to a degree, right? And so I feel like that's why she got the job. But I feel like I think she doesn't love Star Wars, which is why she's been trying to turn it into something that she would love for years now, and it hasn't worked. And you know what's worked? The content made by people who do love Star Wars, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. So I think she's probably a very competent executive, and I'm sure that she'll go back to producing movies and being quite successful with her husband, Frank Marshall. But I just don't think it's working out. And I think that it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. But I will give her credit for going out there and doing the presentation. So good for her in that regard. All right. So the first thing they presented was, boop, Andor. And they had new character posters. Woo! That third guy over has pretty long eyelashes. You know why I say that? Because I've watched the first 4 episodes. They gave me the screeners the day that D23 started. Luckily, Marvel's they were the Andor screeners for the first 2 episodes were about 30 minutes long only, and then it got longer to about 40 minutes for the second 2 episodes. So I've seen the first 4. So I certainly didn't cover this and also they had a final trailer which didn't have that much new stuff in it anyway. So Andor starts pretty soon, and I think the embargo, the social media embargo is on September 15th, and then as usual, the review embargo is for all Disney Plus series the day before. So that's why I particularly didn't cover it. But those are some very nice character posters. Although it's ridiculous that Stellan Skarsgård isn't up there. I got to tell you, I guess that's who showed up. So they gave him their character posters. That's nice. I looked up, Stellan Skarsgård for the first time ever looks a lot like his son, particularly Alexander Skarsgård. I was like, oh, wow. Usually you're like, that's the dad. But now I'm like, oh, yeah, I see it. And then I looked up young Alexander Skarsgård, and I was like, whoa, he looks like, totally different when he was younger. But it's interesting because Stellan Skarsgård kind of plays like 2 characters on the show. And when he becomes the other character, he becomes the person he always looks like in most movies. So I was weirded out that he could look like Alexander Skarsgård, and yet for some reason chooses not to. All right, so that was Andor. They didn't have too much for Andor. Then they were like, woo, Willow, woo. Is anyone here excited for Willow? I mean, I'm like, another fantasy show? And they're like, that's right. We might be late to the party, but at least we're not, we're not competing with the rest of the party. I mean, Christian Slater's in it, but I'm not like, oh my God, I must watch. Oh, look at you, Calvin. In a sea of no's. Oh, Mary's also excited about it. But yeah, Willow's coming back, and it will debut right after Thanksgiving weekend on Disney+. And they showed a new trailer, which I not only did not cover, but not even have had time to watch. So, I mean, it's pretty slow the week after Thanksgiving, so I'll probably review it. But, I mean, I can't imagine myself covering Willow week to week. But again, maybe this will be like, what's gonna bring people in? I hope it doesn't drop on, that's a Wednesday. It's nuts that all this stuff drops on Wednesdays. All right, so Willow. So they were like, woo, Willow. Then Dave Filoni came out. Woo, there he is. He's like, hey, let me give you an assist here. He's like, in his trademark cowboy hat at this point. And first he talked up some more animation that he's doing. Darth Superman, you love the classic Willow? That's great. Hey, JP. Dave Filoni came out and he first talked about his animation. Bad Batch Season 2, January 4th, 2023. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, that is delayed, Keith. That's delayed. But, I mean, they got to have Willow air, quite frankly. I'm excited about it. I like the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is something that I will review in the beginning and then at the very end. It's not a week-to-week kind of show. And, in fact, when I watched Bad Batch, the first season, I would take a break. And then I would watch 3 to 4 episodes in a row. And then I would be like, oh, this show is pretty good. But I don't really think it's a good weekly, one-at-a-time kind of show. But I am kind of excited for it to come back. I really like Omega, by the way. So I'm interested in this coming back. So then that was that. And then they had also Tales of the Jedi, which is going to be 6 episodes, which is going to be 3 focusing on Ahsoka, 3 on Count Dooku, who was Christopher Lee in the movies. Here he is young with Mace Windu before he turned to the dark side. And they showed a trailer, which I also haven't had time to watch. And this starts on October 26th. So, I mean, I know a lot of fans are very excited about this, so that's awesome. And so maybe that's why they delayed Bad Batch, so this could come first. That makes sense to me. They're not gonna air all this stuff at the same time. They gotta parse it out. All right, so then they moved over to Skeleton Crew. Can you believe this? We're not even in Marvel yet. Then Skeleton Crew. Woo! There's Jude Law looking exactly like Jude Law. We'll talk about that in a moment. So this is the Stranger Things type Star Wars show. And Jon Favreau said, I loved working with John Watts so much on the Spider-Man movies. I was like, buddy, you got to come over to Star Wars. And John Watts was like, where do I sign? So Jude Law is going to work with a bunch of kids who you can see in the background there, those scamps. And this is the first look. And I have to tell you, this is something I kind of thought of while I was watching Andor. I don't really know how many episodes or series Star Wars as a franchise can support. Like, how much depth is there in that franchise, right? I mean, Mando is great. I'm very excited about Ahsoka, but I'm like, I don't know if they can have like a Star Wars show constantly. I just feel like it's going to start to become all the same. And like, that's just Jude Law in a scarf. How is that at all space-like? KJ says every Star Wars show feels exactly the same. Yeah, I gotta say that's kind of true. And especially, when you can kind of tell where there's like the edge of where the budget went, I feel it's tough. I mean, I'm excited to discuss Andor with you. But Jude Law, as I said over the weekend, I think Jude Law is the new Johnny Depp. They were like, we need a new Johnny Depp. Although, I don't know, Jude Law is more muted than Johnny Depp, but perhaps that's what we need because I think Johnny Depp got a little too crazy towards the end. I mean, I'm just talking about his acting. But yeah, so, I mean, I do like Jude Law though, but I feel like, how is this just not Dumbledore? Quite frankly. So we'll see. They showed some footage to the audience. Then they had Mandalorian season 3, and they had the whole cast there, but this is actually from the Parks panel, and they showed that they were going to be having a photo opportunity with Mando and electronic or animatronic Grogu within the parks, within Galaxy's Edge. And I was like, that is incredible. Who would not love that? I think that's going to be great. So I think that's fantastic. Mandalorian has been pushed to 2023. That is a 3-year break between, a little over 2-year break between seasons, which is pretty crazy. So the trailer, they showed a trailer, which I thought was very good, but it leaked. It leaked at Star Wars Celebration, so it didn't really get a lot of attention. But so Mando season 3 is coming, and I still think that's the best Star Wars show. I just feel, and although I reserve for Ahsoka. Oh, by the way, they talked a little bit about Ahsoka, and I think it's pretty clear that you have to watch Star Wars Rebels to really get that show. But I don't know if I have time to watch all of Star Wars Rebels, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, if you watch Star Wars Rebels, you're obviously going to be able to enjoy Ahsoka on a whole nother level. All right, then Oh my God, Indiana Jones. This is what I had a nightmare about, that they released the trailer online. I was like, oh my God. So Indiana Jones was there. They confirmed time travel. It's a time travel movie, and they have a young Indiana Jones in there. This time, it's not River Phoenix or another actor. It is, visual effects on it. We've seen Harrison Ford shooting with the makeup on his face, the dots, to do face replacement. So let's see how good they've gotten with it. So they didn't release a trailer to the public, but there was footage shown to people in attendance. So I'm very excited about this. One of the greatest things to come out was this reunion between Short Round and Indiana Jones with Ke-Huy Quan there for the Loki panel. So backstage, they took that photo together, and it was pretty freaking incredible. So I loved that. I wish that he was in the Indiana Jones movie, quite frankly. But anyway, I'm actually quite excited about the new Indiana Jones movie, even though the last one was horrible. But I'm really kind of still very excited about it. And as Nacho is saying, I really like James Mangold, so I have a lot of faith that he'll deliver. So let's see what happens. They should maybe have a trailer with like Avatar, because this doesn't come out until summer of next year. So I think that maybe in front of Avatar. And that's actually a pretty good fit, quite frankly. But I'm excited. I'm very, very excited about this. There's no Shia. Shia LaBeouf is not in here. This is just Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Harrison Ford, and he's going to go through time. And, good luck being as good a time travel movie as Back to the Future. But let's see. Maybe it'll be good. But this was the great picture. That was what really kind of made the whole thing. All right, so that is the Lucasfilm panel. Does anyone have any questions about the Lucasfilm panel before I move on to the next Marvel section? Hey, Darwin, I'm so glad you're a BTT member. Nicholas is very excited about Tales of the Jedi. Keith says, will you review Tales of the Jedi? Probably not. I got to see what's happening at the time. Marco, I don't think Rogue Squadron is getting made. Hey, Tree, is that Storm there? Is your photo? Let's see. Rahul, we'll start the Marvel panel in just a minute. KJ, you've never seen an Indiana Jones film? You got to fix that. Those movies are incredible, and they hold up like just so well. Juan says, what are your thoughts on the Ezra Bridger casting that leaked? I'm sad it's not Mina Massoud, quite frankly, and he tweeted about it and said he was sad that, he didn't get it and didn't really have a strong opportunity to get it. Hey, Nabby. But I think that the actor they chose actually looks a heck of a lot like the animated version. So I'm excited, and it's a great opportunity for that person. And I'm just happy they cast the correct ethnicity for the role. I think that that's really important because that's how the character was depicted in the series, and I'm really glad that they're going to be doing. I mean, I think that's a really big deal. I think that Star Wars is doing a lot, making up for a lot of lost time in terms of diversity, and I think they have some really exciting casting coming up. Like the Squid Game casting, I mean, that's incredible. All right, so Vasily, I don't think Rian Johnson's ever going to make his trilogy. I mean, I don't know why. I think they don't cancel it because it would be embarrassing to him, but I don't know why he has to keep talking about it. If I were Disney, I'd call him up and be like, you got to stop talking about it, because then I'm going to have to say it's canceled and it's going to be bad. Calvin, there is an LGBT Star Wars character called Dr. Afarna or something. She has a comic, and the comic actually sells quite well. So maybe we'll see her. I think she's a very good candidate for live action, quite frankly. All right, so that's the Lucasfilm panel. Bye, Indiana Jones. I'm so excited. Okay. Then they kicked off the Marvel panel with Rogers the Musical. Boop. So Rogers the Musical, they had the whole song and the whole presentation. Oh boy, my goodness. I think I would have pulled a Hawkeye. I'm not a fan. Remember he turned off his hearing aid? But I'm glad that, it was a nice treat for those people in the audience. So I think that was cool. And it's probably really awesome for those performers to get to do it. But I would have been like, nails on a chalkboard. All right. So that was the first thing that they did. Then first they did the Disney Plus series, or at least that's how they broke it down in the press release. So we're going to start out with the series on Disney Plus before we move into movies. All right. So first up, Ironheart. So there you can see Ryan Coogler was there with Kevin Feige, that heart, which she cuts out in the Wakanda Forever trailer. And there was Anthony Ramos on hand. This is coming out in 2023, and he revealed that he will be playing an anti-hero. So big surprise there. But let's see how they make the Parker Robbins cape work. You know, he's the Hood. And again, a lot of people didn't realize that was the character of the comic, the Hood, and people were like, this anti-hero is called the Hood. So there'll be a lot of funny jokes about that. All right, so they had that. I don't know if they showed any footage for this. Then they had Werewolf by Night, and they showed that crazy trailer. I filmed my breakdown, and my breakdown will now have to go up tomorrow. Something I have to do this afternoon because I was working all weekend. But Werewolf by Night, I have to say, I think it captured some people's interest quite a bit, but I think overall the appeal was niche. The view count on the trailer is significantly lower than Secret Invasion. So I feel like it's going to hit with certain people, but I hope they didn't spend too much money on it. And it doesn't look like they did, so I think it works out. I think that the trailer is interesting, and you'll see my breakdown. That's right, Aaron. I think that's the TVA in there. So I think there's some kind of cool stuff in there. All right, so Werewolf by Night. Then Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion, I think, was probably the best received out of everything that they announced at D23, because they not only had a trailer, something for general audiences to look at, but something that was pretty cool. So, and I think the trailer was good. So they had that, and that's coming out 2023. So that was good. I broke that down yesterday. That video is up right now. Then they also talked about Armor Wars. Always happy to see Don Cheadle. He came out there, and they said that they're still doing that. They debuted that new fancy logo, and they didn't even give a date for when it was coming out. They were like, we're still making it. Woo! That was basically, like, for instance, they did, I'm glad I'm glad Don Cheadle got to be there, but that's something did it need to be at D23 if they, just for a new logo, right? So they had that. Then I was so happy for Loki season 2. Oh, look, everybody showed up there. You've got the leads from the first season in descending order of height, apparently, which is hilarious. And yes, it was announced that Ke Huy Quan from Short Round, from Temple of Doom, and also from Everything Everywhere All at Once, has joined the cast. And he is just such a perfect fit for this show. I can't believe it. When I thought this show couldn't get any better, it does. I think that's just so awesome. Really, really cool. And I really respect Tom Hiddleston. He's not only Loki, but he works really hard to promote the character, to develop the character. I would say at this point, Tom Hiddleston is like the keeper of Loki. And he's doing an amazing job. You're doing amazing, sweetie. So very excited for this show. I can't wait. There's no trailer they showed some footage, Jerome, at the expo, but it wasn't released to the public. And apparently there were multiple Lokis once again in the video. Hey, Ijo, welcome back. So that was cool. Then there's more. We're not even out of TV yet. This is nuts. Then Echo. So Echo is there. Woo! I hope Echo does well. I still feel why are we doing this instead of just going right into Daredevil? But they showed some footage, and so I'm glad they got their due. So Echo presented, and that led into Daredevil. Now this was I'm still very nervous about this because I really disliked what they did with Kingpin on Hawkeye, and I feel like it's only going to get worse. So the good thing is they have a new logo, and I think that's a very nice logo. So they're like Daredevil Born Again. But and this, is going to be 18 episodes again, as they said, and Charlie Cox is back, and he gave some really nice interviews backstage. But what concerned me was that they said that Born Again isn't just a reference to the classic storyline, but that they are rebooting the character. And the Netflix series never happened, according to the MCU. And I'm like, I feel that's a really bad choice. I just can't believe we have to start with this character from square one, considering we've been through 3 seasons with the character and we were very happy with the progression. So that, and also I'm very concerned that it's going to change the tone dramatically if that's what they're doing. So yeah, I was really shocked that that's something they've decided to do. So I'm very, very nervous about this. I'm glad for these. I hope that, I'm glad that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are so excited to come back. but I hope they don't. I'm worried they might regret it, because I thought the Kingpin was so bad in Hawkeye. Like, honestly bad. Not like, oh, I don't agree with that choice, or it's not what I would do. Like, bad. And such a step down from the original stuff that we had on Netflix, that I'm just very nervous about what they're going to do to Daredevil. I mean, and they already said that he's going to be a lot lighter. I mean, the clip that they showed that was in the recent She-Hulk halfway season trailer, he seemed pretty much the same to me, but they said he's going to be a lighter character. And I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's ridiculous. I mean, Daredevil is not a lighter character, and it's kind of silly. I mean, what's he going to do? Wrestle with his Catholic guilt in a fun way? I mean, it's ridiculous. All right. All right, so those are the television shows. Those are the streaming shows for Disney Plus. It's too much. It's too much. All right. I don't know. I mean, it's exciting, but I feel like I'm not just saying it's too much from the perspective of someone who has to cover it. I'm saying that I think it's too much in terms of not feeling this stuff is special anymore, and that it starts to all bleed together and just feel like it's the same. Like, that's what I think is, like, concerning. Like, that's what I'm just worried about. Like, how does this stuff become special, and how does it become unique, and how does it all stand apart? All right, now let's look at movies. All right, so we had Wakanda Forever. Like, for instance, Wakanda Forever and Quantumania, they basically just showed the footage that they showed at Comic-Con, so I don't know why they had to be here, quite frankly. I mean, I'm very excited about these movies, but they were spotlighted at Comic-Con, so they should have had new, different things spotlighted here at D23. So Wakanda Forever was there. Woo! Look at M'Baku. He looks great. He's so much bigger than everybody else. He's fantastic. All right, so Wakanda Forever. Woo! Then they also talked about Quantumania. Woo! Paul Rudd working real hard to promote it. Again, they just showed the footage from before. Then Fantastic Four. Now, Matt Shakman was the only thing that they confirmed for sure, and he wasn't even there. They were just like, oh yeah, and as you've read everywhere, Matt Shakman is directing Fantastic Four. So hopefully we will see the cast revealed pretty soon, because I know that they've already gotten to the short lists. They're talking to a number of people. It should come out. He was there, Jacob? Oh, well, that's good. Nobody seems to have taken a picture of him, because I looked for it and I couldn't find a picture. He was sitting in the audience. What? Everybody else is on stage and Matt Shakman has to sit in the audience? That's really crazy. He's like, I'm sad. Why am I out here by myself? All right, so Fantastic Four, that's all they did. They were like, okay, Matt Shakman, yes. All right, then I thought this was great. Captain America New World Order. So New World Order was there. You've got the director, Julius Ona, who said some really nice things backstage, by the way. Julius Ona said that this is going to be about Sam Wilson becoming the leader. Like, he's a great team member. He's really good at giving a strong assist. But now, and I guess that's funny because, the leader is the villain here, Tim Roth from the Hulk movies. But, Sam Wilson now has that added responsibility of being the leader, but also create some distance from the rest of your team. And so I think that's great. I think that's kind of what he started to explore a little bit at the end of the series. So I'm really excited to take this journey with Sam. So yes, that's right. Torres is coming back. Danny Ramirez, now hot off of Top Gun. So he's coming. Isaiah Bradley, played by Carl Lumbly, also is going to be in the movie. That is so exciting. I'm so happy about that. I think that is just such a wonderful opportunity. I think it's going to give the movie just as much depth as the show had. And I hope there's a flashback sequence to Isaiah Bradley. I mean, that is just exciting, exciting stuff. There might be other people in the movie, but these are the cast members who showed up. Then also, Tim Roth is there as the leader. Hey, Rainey. I know a lot of people are like, what's a Hulk villain doing in a Captain America movie? Well, as I tweeted, I heard that during development meetings for this film, they were kicking around the idea of having the Red Hulk. So I wouldn't be surprised if the leader leads to the Red Hulk, and that would be a phenomenal. Oh, it's not Tim Roth. What is the guy's name who does the leader? I forget his name. He does a lot of work all the time. He was in Henry. He was in this movie that actually got Tim Blake. Oh, it's another Tim. That's funny. Tim Blake Nelson. Not Tim Roth, the other Tim Blake Nelson. That's right, Nail. On the poster, it'll just say, what's his face? Hilarious. Mekki, you beat me to it. I also wanted to talk about the fact, and I'm surprised this didn't get more coverage, that they've added Sabra to this movie. Sabra is an Israeli super soldier, and she'll be played by Shira Haas, who was on Netflix's Unorthodox, and a lot of franchises wanted her. A lot of us thought she'd be a great Kitty Pryde. But Sabra basically is a super soldier for Israel. So I like that global feel. I like, we've had Russian super soldiers and we have American super soldiers. And I love the idea of having, Sabra has been a mutant, Marduk. She's basically a mutant. Sabra was a mutant, but they haven't really used her recently. She was a mutant like back in the 90s. But I'm not quite sure how they'll reimagine her here. I don't know if a mutant would work here, quite frankly. They are starting to bring mutants in, but I prefer the idea of an Israeli super soldier, to be quite honest with you. But I think it's a good idea. I think that every government would try to have at least one. And I think that's really exciting to explore what that would look like. So I like that global feel for this movie. I'm very excited about this movie. I think this movie is going to be quite excellent. I'm excited. All right, so that's New World Order. Then they revealed the Thunderbolts lineup. Woo! And a number of the cast members were there. And Florence Pugh couldn't be there because she's, of course, just come right off of Venice and she's filming Dune. But she did send a video, which I thought was very nice. As I said in my breakdown of this, it's basically Black Widow 2. This is coming out July 26, 2024, which, by the way, is pretty much the exact same release date as both Suicide Squad movies, which both kicked off the first weekend of August. So that's fascinating to me. Kevin Feige really wants his own Suicide Squad. And so I think that's very, very interesting. But yeah, this got a lot of attention. Not all of it good, but it made headlines. So that's excellent. Then after that, the Marvels. I'm surprised they showcased this so prominently because I think it's kind of far away. And also they didn't need to because they had so many other things that they were talking about. Although this is further along than Captain America New World Order. So I guess that makes sense. So they talked about the Marvels. They showed some footage. Nia DaCosta is there, the director. She was there. And then, of course, you had your three stars. Blair, I hope Zemo joins. I agree, in Thunderbolts. So you had Brie Larson, Teyonah Parris, and Iman Vellani. Now, they really leaned into the hating, to like kind of combating the trolls. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel that's a losing strategy. I would just ignore that. But based on what I've heard of this movie, it's a very silly, it's also another silly movie. There's like, the recent She-Ra thing that they did on Netflix, where She-Ra was reimagined as an LGBT character with Catra. And you think about the way Rose Tico was in Star Wars, that is a very specific audience. And it's very potent. What is it? Puppy Cat and Bee or something? Bee and Puppy Cat or whatever? That's like returning. It's like this kind of like, it's almost like it's anime adjacent. And I feel like that's what this movie's trying to embrace. Now, is that going to work with Marvel fandom? I'm not sure. But I think that that's what this movie is. And this movie is fully embracing that. I hope it has some good action sequences. Nia DaCosta, I thought, was a very strong director with Candyman. So I'm hoping that she can deliver some cool action sequences here. But I think that this movie is just going to be what it is. And there's no reason to dwell on any negativity. Like Brie Larson backstage, it wasn't cool of someone to ask her how long she would be playing Captain Marvel for. And then she answered, well, as long as people want me to. Why would you ever say that? Never say that, I'd just be like, I'm just focused, the better answer is I'm just focusing on the next movie, which I'm really excited about. I feel like, I'm sure that these haters are very aggressive and I'm sure that it weighs on them and I feel bad about that. But I feel like you're only feeding them and giving them more content to create. So just ignore it and just focus on making a really great movie. But I am very curious to see how this film turns out. I know that it's going to be, it's very Sailor Moon. That's good comparison, Dan Blaster. I think it's going to be a silly movie. And I think that that's fine, as long as there's an audience for it. That's fine. So let's just see what happens with this film. It has a musical sequence. It has it spotlights K-pop. That's the kind of movie it is. And we say we want variety. I think it's going to maybe potentially be as strong a choice as Werewolf by Night. I don't know if that's but I gotta tell you, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers' comics have never really done particularly well in the comic book space, to be honest with you. I mean, this is a tough character, and I don't really think that Kevin Feige has cracked it. But I don't know if you can crack it. I just think it's cool how powerful she is, and I'm curious to see what they have to do. Dark Savior, I love that she's so powerful. I think it's fantastic. All right, then finally, 20th Century was like, we're here too. And they had Avatar. And they didn't have a trailer, thank goodness, but they did show some 3D sequences to the people who were in attendance. And I'm sure it looked just marvelous, darling, marvelous. And then, of course, they're re-releasing Avatar at the end of this month. I thought maybe they would have talked about their upcoming Alien show on Hulu, but, I mean, there's no room for anything else. So I'm excited. That's right, Grazier. Avatar in 4DX is probably going to be a pretty hot ticket. But I'm excited for Avatar, quite frankly, and that's pretty incredible considering the fact that I really disliked the first film and can't get through it. But I'm excited about this. I mean, I still think this will be really interesting, and I'm curious to see what James Cameron's got. It used to be never bet against James Cameron, but then he did the new Terminator, and now it's like, fingers crossed. But I thought the trailer has been surprisingly good every time I've seen it. It's really cool in IMAX. All right, so it is 1:46. Oh, I thought it would take a full hour to go through that, so we have some time. For the next 10 minutes, you can ask me anything you'd like about the entire D23 Expo. Anything from the weekend, any panel. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Jesse Perez says, thoughts on the Percy Jackson trailer? I thought it trended really young. I have a hard time thinking that anybody would watch that who wasn't a hardcore Percy Jackson fan or a child. So, and I mean, it also seemed really low budget to me, but that's just the teaser. So, I mean, let's see how the rest of it works out. Stephen Turner, I did see that leak. I thought it was good. I'm really supportive of Halle Bailey. I mean, they've modernized the song a little bit, and as someone who really likes the original version, but I think that you have to remember what's popular with today's audiences, right? People love that stuff. So I think that, and it's important, I think, that Halle Bailey make it her own. And, you can't argue with the reaction to people who heard it in person. Thanks, Devin. That's very nice of you. Dark Savior says, Natasha Romanoff and Scarlett Johansson don't get the respect she deserves. Pugh is awesome, but you can't replace Natasha with Yelena, in your opinion. I see where you're coming from, but I gotta tell you, I think Yelena's pretty awesome. I think she's a lot more fun than Scarlett Johansson's Natasha ever was, unfortunately. Ijo says, since Netflix hasn't renewed The Sandman, how likely do you think it is that the series will continue on another service? They haven't canceled it yet, have they? It's too expensive. I think it's probably not going to continue if Netflix won't do it. Devin says, do you think the other Netflix defenders will get solo rebooted shows or just appear in Daredevil and Spider-Man? I don't think they'll get rebooted shows, and I think that only probably Jessica Jones will be back, and I think they'll probably just show, let's see how Daredevil does. I mean, Daredevil is 18 episodes. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Kruno, I don't know if Melina will be back. I don't know how much Rachel Weisz really wants to do this kind of stuff. Max says, Grace, how would you like to see them modernize the Little Mermaid story? Well, what I'm looking for is having her not be so boy crazy. A lot of people, in fact, there was such a backlash when Little Mermaid came out to the way Ariel acted that she met this guy once and was like, see ya to my entire family and life. That's the whole reason that Belle was such an intellectual character who liked to read and was very more mature. That's the whole reason that Belle had those significant changes to her personality. So I would like to see in Ariel that there's a better reason for her being willing to do this. It isn't just about she fell in love with the guy she just met. I'm looking to see more depth brought to the story, and I have a lot of confidence that that's what they'll do. Let's see here. Steven says, Babylon trailer is dropping tomorrow. Will you react? Maybe. I don't know. I have to see. Jake says, in Utah, it's super common to bring throw blankets to the theater. Is this the case at the theaters you attend? There's bed bugs in New York City. I would not bring a blanket. Like, in fact, when I go to the iPic and they're supposed to provide you with a blanket, I always am like, yeah, could you take this back? I don't want this. Jay King says, super bummed to see the backlash against Halle's casting once again, but hopefully the movie's great and is very successful. I think Halle's amazing. I think that it's been a lightning rod right out of the gate. I hope the movie is successful too. I think we should just focus on the positive, and I hope that it's a really amazing production that people just can't say no to. And I think hopefully it'll be a really big hit. I would hope that it would be like a Black Panther level hit. I think that would be really wonderful. And I think that when you see the rest of the cast, I think that also you have to remember there's like just channels who just make a living off of this hate. And so like I talked about likes versus dislikes being really grossly exaggerated in a negative capacity over the weekend. And that's just simply not true. So it's like the stuff that we see in politics, unfortunately. And you just have to, let's not turn into Facebook where we believe whatever's in front of us. Devin Henderson says, why is Disney Animation not prioritizing animated musicals? They always do better than non-musicals, and they can use that music in the parks forever. I don't know, Devin. I think they're going to have a couple of flops coming out of Disney Animation, to be honest with you. Gigi says, is the rest of the Daredevil cast coming back too? I haven't heard anything about that. I would hope so. Wizard of Oz says, what about the rumors of Quake's return? And Calvin also wants to know about that. I don't think that she's ever coming back because Kevin Feige hates what Jeff Loeb did. And I also, I think I'm sorry. I know a lot of you like the character so much, but I just don't think it's a fit. I just don't think it fits. And it's a slippery slope. Then why don't you bring other people back? Mario says, news on the Black Panther 2 Shuri issue and Michaela playing Storm. I have a bad feeling about it. Michaela is not playing Storm. Michaela is playing one of the Dora Milaje. And what is the Black Panther 2 Shuri issue? That she's awesome. Let's see here. Cool Guy says, do you think that Phil Coulson will ever come back? Probably not. I think it's been too long and they have other things to do. Francisco says, would you like Marvel one-shot shorts to come back? I don't think so. I don't think they need it. Millie Joseph, what are your thoughts on the Santa Clauses trailer? I thought that, what was that? Eli? Was that Peyton Manning? I forget. One of the Mannings was in it. I'm not a big sports person. And I thought that was pretty funny. But overall, I thought it looked a little low budget to me. And I'm not sure. But will I watch it? Heck yeah. Well, I'll at least watch the first episode. Somebody asked, oh, there it is. Callaghan says, why didn't they talk about Blade? I heard the Blade had to be reworked quite a bit. So maybe that's why. Maybe they're not quite sure what's going to exactly be going on with it and what characters are exactly going to be in the movie. That might be the reason. Hi, Nigel says, in your opinion, is there a universe in where we'll get a dark and mature Star Wars movie? Well, I know that Andor is very dark and very adult, but I don't know when you're going to get a movie like that. Random Gamer, I reported that Henry Cavill has been talking to the MCU, but I haven't heard that he's signed. I just know that he's been taking meetings and discussing specific characters with them. Marco says, can you tease the Reed Richards shortlist? Well, I already told you it was somebody from Star Wars. Somebody from a Christopher Nolan movie was on the shortlist, I'll tell you that. Someone from a Netflix show, which leaked already that everybody already knows about. And I believe someone who voiced a character in a recent Disney live-action movie that just recently came out. Those and then maybe somebody who maybe works for another franchise. Those are the people that I heard were being considered. Thanks, KJ. I think they were good teases. Like, you can kind of tell, but you can't tell 100%. So I feel good about it. I will say that they seem to be really zeroing in on the fact that Reed Richards is a bit of a jerk. So I'm very happy about that. Grazer says, as a fringe opinion person myself, I was so proud of Letitia up there with everyone else. She seems so more present than everyone else. Well, Grazer, I think people are being respectful of Letitia, and I think as long as Letitia isn't pushing her views on anyone else, I think people will respect her. Matt says, do you think What If will influence future movies or shows like Doctor Strange? It was kind of a fart. I think, maybe. I think it'll certainly influence that new ride, that new Thanos ride that they're doing. Henry Cavill's not joining House of the Dragon. I mean, I haven't heard anything about that. That seems silly. Dante says, Zac Efron Human Torch is low-key growing on me. I have not heard anything about casting for I haven't heard about any of the other casting for the Fantastic Four. But I do think that Zac Efron would be incredible in that role. He might have aged out of it, though, a little bit. Devin says, do you think we'll still get Songbird and Zemo and Thunderbolts? Maybe the studio won't reveal them and it'll be a spoiler. I think Zemo, hopefully. You just can't not have Zemo. It's ridiculous. But I don't know about Songbird. She might be too expensive. And again, I told you it's a Black Widow 2 movie. Hey, Cool Guy 567 gifted 10 memberships. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. And Steven says, as a queer man, I identified with Ariel wanting to get out of her small town and wanting to find where she fit in. I think that's the movie the approach can take. That is a very interesting approach. I think that's a good note. I like that. Let's see, did I miss anything else here? Oh, Vasily, Disenchanted and Glass Onion trailer thoughts. Disenchanted, not for me, but I'm impressed with how well that it did. It seemed low budget to me. Glass Onion, also, I thought medium. I mean, there was just too much going on this weekend for me to really focus on it. I thought actually Dave Bautista came across the best. But it was missing, in my opinion, the coziness of the original movie. Devin says, do you think Sam should keep the wings as Captain America? I do, because it's so cool when he flies and he throws the shield while he's flying. But I feel like that suit needs to be redone. That mask, to me, I never liked Captain America's mask either, though, so maybe I'm just not a mask person. Oh, thanks, Pung Mung. Barbie Minaj says, thoughts on Janelle Monáe's performance in Glass Onion getting buzz. I'm thrilled. I'm a huge Janelle Monáe fan, and I'm frustrated that she has not gotten more opportunities as an actress. So the fact that this might help her, I think is very exciting. Hey, thanks. Hey, Anna Reckless. That's a cute picture of you. He says, Grace, I got to see the first episode of Tales of the Jedi at Celebration, and it'll be great for the lore of Ahsoka, so it'd be great if you reviewed it or even just watched it. Okay, I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll review it, but I'll certainly check it out. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, Callaghan says, what are your thoughts on the Fabelmans trailer? Oh, I hated the Fabelmans trailer. Hated it! I turned it off, actually, halfway through, because I thought it was so pretentious. You can't make a movie about how incredible you are yourself. I'm really shocked that nobody said, hey, Jojo Bell, thank you, that no one said to Steven Spielberg, I don't think you can make this movie about yourself. But he did. I mean, it's Steven Spielberg. I can't imagine not watching it, but I do think that it's a kind of, like, why couldn't he just make a movie about his parents? Why did he have to make a movie also about how he changed the course of the world? I'm like, your movies are good, Steven, but I recently rewatched Jurassic World 2, and it was, like, really bad. Dev, thank you for asking, but I have not heard anything about that movie. Let's see here. Denzel says, what type of content would you like to see from Star Wars? I'd like to see them go back to a bigger budget. I think at a certain point, we can feel the restrictions of a Disney Plus series. I would like something that was like a little bit broader, a little bit more epic and operatic, and moves the story forward. Their unwillingness to take risks is, I think, tough. The Dark Savior says, I liked Jurassic Park too. The beginning was pretty good, but I thought it got bad at the end. Callaghan says, Little Mermaid, will it make $1 billion? I think it's going to go either way, Callaghan. I think it's either going to make $1 billion for sure, or I think that it's going to, not connect. So I think we'll have a better idea when we see what the reviews look like. I think the rest of it has to be a perfect movie, but I think there's a very good chance that it will be, because that teaser trailer I thought was incredible. Devin says, as a gay, black, white, and Hispanic man, I'm excited for the representation in Wakanda Forever. That's great. I think you're definitely going to get some great representation there. Yeah, thanks, Blix. Let's see here. Vasily, you want some shout-outs? Yeah, it is getting pretty close to shout-out time. All right, let's do some shout-outs, okay? So just say something that you're up to just so I can interact with you, and then I will log off. But thank you for joining me for today's live stream. I had a delightful time as usual. Pastor Madeline says, what kind of Christmas content do you want from Disney? I guess the Santa Clauses. I'd like some animation. I would like them to upload all the animation they have in the vault, by the way. There's a lot of stuff they're sitting on. And I'd like it to be all curated into a single playlist because I don't like having to go search for it. Thanks for staying up, What the Pop. I really appreciate it. Mario says, being the recording of my first full-length album this Sunday. Oh, so you're going to be recording the first full-length album this Sunday for yourself? Good luck. Break a leg. I'm very happy for you. Oh, Madeline, I'm sorry you have a headache. Feel better. Look at Matt Large. Just donated blood, so chilling out watching this. What a wonderful thing to do. I hope you got a good sticker or a treat. Thanks, Danny. It's a nice day. It was raining yesterday. Rainey says, watching in bed at 4 a.m. on my iPad in Australia. Oh, look at the flag. Thanks for staying up, Rainey. I sometimes have a bit of insomnia myself. Newswriter22 says, sneakily avoiding my boss to get in the live stream. I like it. Don't hesitate. Carlos Munoz says, eating tamales. That sounds delicious. Calvin says, prepping for my first day at university or uni after summer tomorrow. Oh, wow. I hope you have some exciting courses you're taking this semester. Vasily says, binging the entire MCU, currently on The Avengers. Sounds like you just got started. Sharon Casey says, shopping online for my nephew's Halloween costumes, Darth Vader and Kylo Ren. They only know them from Fortnite. They've never seen the films. That's hilarious. Maybe that's better. Maybe they'll like them better. I like both those characters. I like Kylo Ren. Max Beck is doing some, I'm doing some horribly confusing economics homework at Wesleyan. Oh, that's a great school. I'm not very good. That would be confusing for me as well, I think. Jewel Rodriguez says, thanks for doing these earlier in the day. I work from home Pacific time with dual monitors, so you have a whole monitor. Oh, I do. Oh, pretty nice. The whole monitor just for me. I'll try to do these earlier sometimes. Like I'm gonna have to do it earlier tomorrow as well because I have a screening tomorrow for The Woman King. So I will not be able to do a late night screening because I got to go, or a late afternoon screening because I got to get to that movie theater. Thanks, Keith. It was my pleasure. Max Verns is waiting for Asian food and my boyfriend, then watching House of the Dragon episode 4. Oh, have a good time. It's pretty sexy this week. Jose says, I am recovering after 3 days at the expo. Loved your coverage. I hope you had a good time. It's looked like a really great experience to be there. Marduk is rewatching all of The Lord of the Rings. That's awesome. I still haven't watched episode 3 yet. I meant to, but then I've got sucked into the vortex of Frasier. I was like, oh, this will be great. They're just 30-minute episodes or 20-minute episodes. If I need just something small, I'll just watch a little Frasier. I'm watching like 3 or 4. It's like, oh my God, and there's so many of them. I'm only on season 2, and there's like 12 seasons or 11 seasons. Rashad said, sneaking this live stream at work in the spa right now. Awesome. I hope it's a great day in Vegas. Yeah, Frasier is like incredibly well written. It's just really, it's like top notch. What the Pop says, thanks for all your coverage, Grace. Been a watcher for a while, but usually never get to see the live streams because of the time difference. Oh, I'm so happy you were able to make it today. Marco says, getting ready for a sustainability conference for Amazon tomorrow. Oh, that's very interesting. Brett Crandall says, working from home in Kansas. I love it. That's so great. I hope you have a lot of cool sunflowers there. You did a good job evoking the magic of Kansas there, Brett. Diego says, supposed to be working Monday blues. Hi from the Bay? Yeah, Monday blues. Tell me about it. Yeah, Mondays are actually usually not so crowded for me because I just put up Movie Math and House of the Dragon. So I usually take my Mondays kind of easy, unless a big trailer drops. I didn't like all the trailers dropping at once because usually I can do a reaction and then break it down right away. So I was frustrated that I wasn't able to do that with so many trailers dropping at once. I was like, let me do my job properly, please. Juan, I'm not doing Movie Math this week because there's just too much and there's not enough to cover for Movie Math. It was very slow. Nothing really happened this week, so it's a good week to skip. And it'll be back next week. Elliot just finished Severance. Welcome to the party. What a great show. Jesse says, rewatching The Crown. I saw that back in the top 10 on Netflix. It is an incredible show. I bet you they add another season. They're supposed to just be 6 seasons, but I bet they put a season 7. They have to do one to cover the death of the Queen. Jimmy says, watching the live stream while the system is down. Oh, what system? I guess you're on your phone? Oh, you're in Guatemala. Oh, that's fantastic. Caliban says, I'm hyped for October because it's my favorite month because of Halloween. Oh, that's awesome. Halloween is a great holiday. I do love Halloween. It's because I've finally got on the Halloween train, but Christmas is still my favorite. I sure love Christmas. It's so magical. Jacob Herrera says, everything is finally calming down in LA. It felt like hell on earth from terrible heat to tropical storms. Yikes. Stupid global warming. Juan, I'm so sorry about Movie Math went up last Sunday. It just wasn't up this Sunday, but I posted it last week. Did I do it on Monday, though? Yeah, I did it on Monday last week, but it was Labor Day weekend. Last week was a good episode. You should go check that out if you haven't already. I was very proud of that episode. Random Gamer says, chaotically packing for uni while watching the live streams here. I'm going to uni abroad tomorrow. Oh, that's exciting. I'm glad you saw the episode, Juan. Movie Math will be back on Sundays this coming Sunday. Dev, that's so sweet of you. David Quevedo says, watching from the office, working on reports, waiting for the lunch break. The boss had a doctor's appointment. Ooh, extra long lunch break, it sounds like. All right, well, I better get going. I have these errands I have to run this afternoon. I loved talking to you, as usual. And what's a good time for tomorrow's live stream? What would you guys like for tomorrow's Emmys live stream? Would you like 1 o'clock again, or would you like even earlier at noon, Eastern Standard Time? I can't do any earlier than that because I have to prepare it, and there might be also a trailer in the morning. I haven't heard anything, but you never know. Maybe I'll split the difference and do 12:30. Bye, Caliban. All right, maybe I'll split the difference and do 12:30. Would that work for you guys if I did a 12:30 stream tomorrow? Sabian's like, I'm going for 2. Bye, Ryan. Oh, Darwin wants 1. Oh, it's hard. That's pretty funny, is our take. 12:31. All right. It'll be 12. Oh, sorry about that, Madeline. It'll be 12:30 tomorrow. 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so that's when the live stream will be tomorrow, and I shall be doing an Emmy review. Blair says, do you have any evening live streams? You know, it's crazy. For some people, this is an evening live stream. I don't usually do too many. I do some watch-alongs in the evening, but if it would help people to sometimes do an evening live stream, perhaps I will. Sometimes I live stream at like 6 p.m. because my day gets away from me. But all right, so I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody.